Go. Hi, guys. You're welcome to the preview and review show of the big leagues in Europe. And this is Elegwated TV. And what we'd like to say to you is as freestyle as possible. It's not your whole, face the rules, do all this. You're free to say it the way it is, how it comes in your mind. It's the fans of the game gathered here to talk about what they feel about their team, the league that their team play in, and probably sometimes touch on the other leagues of the world. I'm going to be here as your host and coordinate. If you're very, very interested in it, reach out to us. We might have you as part of the show one of these days. My name is Idafi Matthias Yogane, and this is Celebrated TV. Do us a favor. If you like what we're doing here, click on the subscribe button, turn on the notification. And then I've got stars selected across the world. I've got on the show today, I've got Bobby Ray Ukaigwe, who is, I like to call him my co-host, because if you go on the YouTube channel for every show that we've put out, he's articulated his thoughts very well. He's erudite, he's brilliant, he's academically sound, and he's astute. And then I've got Abib, a chat prodigy, who was with us some time ago, and I think I forgot that he came here, and then I'm seeing him now. Looking at him, all smooth and fresh is good. And then I've got my brother, my friend, my teammate, my partner. We've walked through storms and rains and suns and climbed mountains, going through valleys, trying to stop human trafficking through sports, and also helping to make the world a better place. But we are dealing with our own personal storms on our own space. But somehow we'll find the peace within us to be able to weather the storm. Is Daniele Canepa as well. So we have Abiba Yodeji, Bobby Ray Ukaigwe, who for me is one of the strong persons who's been supporting us financially and helping us, keep this project going. So I'm going to start with Habib. The Olympic has ended, and American is buzzing like Brazil in the 2008 Beijing Olympic. Brazil was the next host of the World Cup in 2014 and the next host of the Olympic in 2016. How is America, the United States of America, how are you guys, how did you guys receive this Olympics, who is described as the dirtiest and the ugliest and the worst Olympic ever had, but then there's still the good, the bad, and the ugly, and Americans have won a lot. How is it received back home? You are in Indiana, but how is it received back home in the US?
Well, first of all, like the Olympic just concluded, and there were like over 1,000 medals that were awarded during the Olympics, and it's not too surprising to like see the USA come up on top. Like I think the only time in recent history where they've not topped the medal table was in Beijing 2008. But yeah, they finished the Olympic in Paris, finishing like 40 golds, 44 silvers, and 42 bronze, just ahead of China, who had like 40 goals, but with less medals compared to the USA. Overall, they came out with 126 medals. So, in some instances, if you ask the locals, they will say the US actually underperformed during these Olympics because they were expecting more medals from them.
Wow.
And yeah, and you go across the range of all competitions, you could see the US actually coming out in flying colors, from Simone Biles, the gymnastic, to Noah Lyles breaking the winning the 100-meter record, and also to the dream team. When you ask LeBron James, the basketball team that came out with gold medal, and he was asking like they asked him the question like, "What team is this?" And he said, "This is the Avengers." And you could see like LeBron James actually won gold in 2008, and he also won gold in 2012, also finishing again in this Olympics with gold in 2024. So it's actually remarkable to like see US come up front in all competitions, which is actually incredible. And there's this expectation that they are going to surpass their feats in the Paris 2024 Olympics when they are hosting it in Los Angeles. Because first of all, you get like the home advantage from the teams. Most of your athletes will qualify, and you will be able to like compete on all fronts. So I'm expecting the US to come out on all fronts in Los Angeles 2028 with more medals. But it's not too surprising to like see US dominate all competitions in this Olympics. But to be honest, this Olympics has been remarkable with like medals on all fronts. So it's not too surprising to see. And this is like a testing ground. We are going to have the 2026 World Cup in the USA and also have the Olympics in 2028. So it's like the US is starting to embrace like sports, and they are trying to like showcase to the world that they can actually host these games, and having the World Cup and the Olympics is just a way to like showcase US sport culture across all broad.
All right, let me jump to Italy. From one group of people who think that they are the king of kings, even though they can't seem to get a proper president. They have had back-to-back terrible presidents now, talking about America. In Italy, they've had it terrible. We grew up on two countries. You are either a fan of Brazil or you are a fan of Italy. France, Germany, all these other countries came later. The two countries that everybody wanted to fall in love with, wanted to support, was either Brazil because of Pele, the number 10 jersey, or Italy for all of the beauties that they bring to the game. But Italy have failed to qualify for the World Cup back to back. They won the Euro in between, but then they went to the last Euro. They were a real shadow of themselves. Got knocked out in the absence of Calafiori. What is wrong with Italian football, Daniele? What's been happening? What can change? Would Italy make it to the next World Cup in 2026 in the United States of America? Because the last time, when Italy did it against Nigeria was in 1994, where Baggio missed that penalty. He went from being a hero to being a villain. They say a man died standing. Roberto Baggio died standing that day, but then they went on Cannavaro and Co in 2006 to win it. What is the hope for Italian football going into the next World Cup?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I think the hope is that there'll be more teams in the next World Cup, so more more possibilities, more percentages for Italy to be joining the club. Jokes apart, it's not going to be easy. I think there's a kind of crisis of the football movement in general, not of the sports movement, because Italy in the last Olympics has been again in the top 10, which is always quite good result for Italy. But yeah, the football movement is certainly going through a difficult time. I think in particular, we're a bit unlucky because we don't have, a striker or a second striker or a player that really can change the game. We've got a good team, some good players. Some of them are playing, top European football in Champions League teams. We lack, that kind of player for the key moments, which that's something we never lacked in the past. You mentioned Roberto Baggio. Yeah, Roberto Baggio missed the penalty, but we got to that final thanks to Roberto Baggio because he was a kind of clutch player, and he played an incredible tournament in the following World Cup. Or 2002, 2006, we always had these number 10s or these number 9s. You just gave them the ball and they would do something, and then the rest of the players were just trying to defend, and we normally have a very good tradition in terms of defenders and goalkeepers. So at the moment, there's a kind of vacant position for the number 10 and the number 9. So we don't have a player who's got that type of personality, also that type of technical skills to make a difference and take us minimum to the best 8 teams in the world. Apart from that, it's the football movement that in this moment is going through a crisis. We have a lack of talent, and that's due to many factors. Probably it would need an episode of its own.
Well, that's some nice, and I hope that Italy finds the game changer that would make their game good. I'll come back to you again, Daniele, because we need to talk about some of the teams in Italy. For instance, they say Italian football works when AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan are working. I don't know if they're working right now, but we will get to talk about that. And also, the big elephant in the room for Nigerian audience is the Victor Osimhen transfer saga. But I want to go to Manchester. And my reason for going to Manchester is that I have Bobby, who's proven to be like, I could call him a pseudo director of Manchester United. He seems to know more about Manchester United than even Ineos, than Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers. So, Bobby, come on and tell me, there are two fronts here that Manchester United are dealing with. We still have the dilapidated structure. We've come to a conclusion that they are going to build a £2 billion pounds facility that would house 100,000 capacity, which is called the Wembley of the North. I don't know why they choose that name for it. But then Manchester United have brought in Joshua Zirkzee, Lenny Euro, what's it called? Delete and Mazuri just drove in through the doors to Manchester United training facility. They will have their medicals today and hopefully be unveiled later today or tomorrow. And there is still the hope that 2 more signings will be done. And when that is done, Manchester United have the expectation of maximally getting to the top 4 and probably winning a trophy. I want to get your honest opinion. Leave the fact that you're a fan of Manchester United, you're a diehard of Manchester United. Do you guys really have a team? We saw the Community Shield. There were still some weakness. The old lazy legs were still there. You think Manchester United have reached the place where we can say, you know what, we are on the upward ride and we can get into that top 4 and probably, like you said, win a trophy?
Excuse me. Thanks for the opportunity. Whether Manchester United can get into the top 4, achieve our so-called targets, at the moment with the 4 signings, I would say yes. I'm not saying we are finished, but I would say yes. Let's start from the defense. You have Euro, Mazwari, and Delete. Our major problem in defense has been that we have defenders who are comfortable defending deep. They can't progress the ball. They can't keep a high line. They are not comfortable on the ball. They can't hold the ball under pressure. Mazwari and Euro defeat that. They are good collecting the ball from Onana. They are good with the ball under pressure. They can progress the ball up the pitch perfectly well, and they can interplay with their fellow defenders. Mazwari is a modern fullback, not just defensively. He can defend the back post very well, unlike Wan-Bissaka. But going forward, he's good going forward, crossing the ball, puts in good crosses, can invert into midfield, which is something that Ten Hag likes and which modern footballers are meant to do. The likes of Dalot and Shaw, they do that very well. So the problem is that, like before, if you say when our defenders are defending deep, you have your mid, because the Ten Hag still wants to press. So you have your the front 3 up front. You have Bruno up front. You have Menu on the left-hand side, still going forward. Then you have Casemiro, because Casemiro does not have the legs. Even if he goes forward, he can't come back.
Absolutely.
He stays back. Then you end up with the so-called donut midfield. But
Oh
when the defenders can
you didn't
go
bring that up again. You didn't bring that
can progress the ball. When the defenders can progress the ball with the midfielders, then you have the ball up front. Then the midfield defense and attack becomes closer. Then midfield becomes compact. So what I would say for now, we still need a defensive midfielder, because as it stands, no matter what Casemiro did in the Community Shield, Casemiro is a liability. He's lost an inch of pace. He's floppy on the ball. He puts in reckless tackles, which means he's bound to get a yellow card in every game. And if Casemiro is on a yellow card, he's close to a red card. So he's a liability. Also, he does audacious, he tries audacious things, audacious long balls, instead of keeping it simple. Tackle, collect the ball, pass the ball. So most probably, the person we are looking close to is Ugarte, who is more like a younger version of Casemiro, more of an enforcer, a destroyer, but still has to work on his game going forward. Then also we need a left back. We have been linked to Hermoso, but I don't support Hermoso because Hermoso is a volatile player, prone to red cards, very undisciplined and very erratic. So
all right, so let me go back to Italy,
now.
And I think everybody will chime in their 2 penny on this. Victor Osimhen is still the conversation. The funny thing about Victor Osimhen was that before the transfer window opened, Victor Osimhen was regarded as the first man that was going to run through the line in a chain reaction of transfer that involved Mbappe going to Paris and to Real Madrid, and then Osimhen going to Paris Saint-Germain, or probably Manchester United, Chelsea, or even Arsenal was mentioned in this conversation. And some people even said that Barcelona might take an audacious move to get in Osimhen there, and then Atletico Madrid. But all of a sudden, Mbappe has gone to Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid have signed or probably would unveil what's it called? Alvarez later today or tomorrow. Juventus are not even interested in that conversation. Not Inter Milan, not AC Milan. And then in England, Manchester United have gotten Zexi, so he's out of the conversation. Arsenal doesn't look like they want to sign him, even though there's plenty of low-budget rumors that are linking him to Arsenal. Then the Chelsea conversation, the money is not, the math is not matching at all. They've just turned down Omorodion, and then the next name they are calling it, your fellas who came there before and was regarded as a flop, nobody is still talking about Osimhen. And the Bayern talk died with the signing of Harry Kane. What is happening with Victor Osimhen? And for the fact that Antonio Conte, who sacked Diego Costa with an SMS, Diego Costa is another player that looked like Osimhen, seems like he doesn't like to work with that kind of player. What is the situation with Osimhen? Eventually, if he doesn't get to move to any club, what happens with him?
You probably know better in Nigeria than in Italy, because he's your star player. No, apart from that, it's very difficult to understand. I was reading this morning that basically Napoli have to kind of make a decision, because obviously the way things are at the moment is not good for the club. It's not good for the manager. It's not good for the player himself, of course. So I think a decision will soon be made. I can't, I wish I had a crystal ball and were able to understand what is going to happen, but, I don't know. Obviously, if an offer is made that doesn't satisfy Napoli, I think what the club will have to try to do, and what Antonio Conte will have to try to do, is to say, okay, well, maybe he's going to stay. We try to kind of get him back the way that they've done with Kvaratskhelia, who was, who said that maybe he wanted to leave and then he stayed. And the way that they did with Di Lorenzo, the right back, who also, was not sure he was staying, and then he eventually stayed.
Yeah, changed his mind.
But obviously it's complicated, and if he leaves, then Napoli will definitely need a very good number 9, because Antonio Conte is very ambitious. He didn't go to Napoli to compete for a 5th place. He went there because obviously he thinks he can compete to win the league again, but without a strong striker, you can't do that. So it's very interesting to see what will happen.
Like I promise, I don't plan to keep everybody for long. So let's get down to everybody chiming in one word for the first episode of this show. Remember, we have another one coming up on Friday. What should we be looking out for? Let me go to Indiana and Habib. I know you're a Man United fan, even though you're wearing a Nigerian jersey, vintage. What should we be looking out for Man United this season?
Bobby has summarized it perfectly well. He analyzed all the
I told you
issues
he's a
tactically
professor.
from. Yeah, I'm really impressed. Like, he analyzed all the issues tactically from Manchester United, and I quite agree with him. But I don't think I'm expecting too much from Manchester United, in the fact that I think there are still some underlying issues. Like, we don't have like a midfielder that can progress the ball. And reports of Ugarte, I don't think Ugarte fits that kind of profile that can progress the ball. Although he's more mobile, he's a destroyer. But they struggled against Manchester City. They struggled to like control the pace of the game and to also progress the ball. So I'll be thinking like fit. If they can get like a good midfielder that can progress the ball up the pitch, I'll be thinking they'll probably finish in the top 4. But right now, I'm turning down my expectation from the club.
Bobby, I'm going to make a switch on this one. You are an expert when it comes to the English game. Chelsea have done 9 signing, 158.6 million spent already. In the bulk pack figure, that's a small money compared to what they've been doing before, where you'd think that they spend 100 million and over on a single player. But they've done 9 players, and there are few outgoings that is going to happen. So they are going to be playing the Nets versus Gross card that Liverpool played under Jurgen Klopp. But looking at Chelsea, are Chelsea going to get out of building 10th and come into the top 4, or they are going to do worse than they did last season?
Doing worse than last season? No, they can't do worse than last season. They will definitely progress. I think Chelsea will finish between 5th and 4th.
Wow.
Either 5th or 4th.
Wow.
I think they will finish above Liverpool.
New coach, new set of players. You think everything will gel just the same way? Before I let you go, just the same way. I think that my problem with the Man United, all of the analysis you gave was good, but Lenny Yoro is out for 3 months, so they're still going to be stuck with the old guys. For some, Mazrui and Delete. There are too many new players in one window. It might take them time to blend. That's my opinion anyway. I don't know if that's going to affect you. But let me go to Daniele as we prepare to wrap up. Daniele, you think that this is the season where Juventus comes back into the running again? Because they've been out for a while now, and we've waited for long. Is the old lady ready to sing again, or the zebra would not make anybody cross the road, or it's easy to run over the zebra?
Mm-hmm. That's funny because I haven't heard the word zebra for a long time. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Good use of that nickname. Well, they're still kind of under construction. They have a good team, but the impression is that they're still trying to, probably make a couple of new signings. I think at the moment, the only team that is really ready is Inter and also AC Milan. They've already got their starting 11, and Inter, they even acquired players for the bench like Zielinski, who's a very good player, or Taremi. So I think Juventus are a bit behind. They're still under construction. There's a new manager. So I think because the Serie A is starting very early this season, so on the next upcoming weekend, so I think there's quite a few teams that are still struggling to, find their own identity. But surely the Juve have a very, very good team, and they made some very good signings like Thuram and Douglas Luiz. And the goalkeeper, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with the goalkeeper. Szczesny is very reliable. They signed also this goalkeeper from Monza called Di Gregorio, a very good one. So it will also be interesting to have a look at what happens in Juventus goal.
All right, Bobby, who's your dark horse in the Premier League this season?
Dark horse in the Premier League. When you mean dark horse, you mean to win the league?
To surprise everybody, to pull a surprise like Aston Villa did last season.
West Ham.
Habib, who's your dark horse in the Premier League?
Oh, Liverpool, for sure.
And for you, Daniele, who's your dark horse in the Italian Serie A, like Napoli did 2 seasons ago? Who's your dark horse to pull a surprise? That got everybody, wow, how did he do that?
Atalanta.
Gasparini! My brother is putting all his hope on you. I thought he was going to say Genoa. You are a man from Genoa. You should have just picked Genoa, but whatever, whatever it is. Well, let's keep it on the wrap today. If you're watching this and you like it and you want us to continue, please do want to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification. Drop your comment. Tell us what you think about it, what you think we should improve. And if you feel like you have it in you and you want to be on the panel, you want to be part of the team, send us a message and we will find a way to get you on board. Thank you very much, Habib, for being here. Thank you very much, my co-presenter, Bobby, my erudite and excellent guy. And my brother, for those of you who don't know, this is a man an Italian who speaks perfect English. His enunciation, the cadence of his words are perfect. But beyond that, he's a teacher and he's also a translator for most Italian clubs and players who come to Italy looking to learn the Italian language, or Italian players looking to speak English. He's worked with great players like Alberto Gilardino, who's become a coach now, a World Cup winner, and an excellent striker of repute, and a lot of other players. So when I say I'm having Daniele, I consider it a privilege to have someone who's got a skin in the game. Thank you very much, everyone, for spending your time with us. Let's do this again on Friday. Hasta la vista, my people. Bye. Or how do I say it in Italy? Ciao. And in England,
Ciao.
How do you guys say bye-bye? Bye, man.
Bye is bye.
Thank you so much, guys.